Wow. Invest in good cases.
Wow. Spend money on good cases. The horrible things that were found in Kilcher's barn made the news a minute ago. He is from Alaska, the last frontier. It was a big surprise to everyone because they had been living a quiet life for a long time. In Kilcher's barn, what do you think the police saw that made the news? Watch this video to find out. Before there was the great reveal. Please click like and subscribe if you haven't already. Atz Kilcher, who plays a part in the show Alaska. The Last Frontier didn't like being the center of attention. He tried to live his life alone because he didn't like being watched. But there was a man behind the privacy who might have bad plans and ideas. Atz Kilcher stayed in his barn for a long time, and his affection turned strange. No one was allowed near the barn, and he didn't come out for a long time. Because of what he did, there were investigations, and what they found wasn't good. In the barn, the police saw wait a while. Did you know that Atz almost died soon after this revelation? Surprised? Let's go into that more deeply so you can understand everything. Kilcher did everything he could to show what he stood for when he joined the show. And one of them was his concern for family. For his friends, the most important thing was seeing him play with his family and make time for them. Their favorite thing to do was watch him live his life through the storms. Her hero who was very brave and took on the wilds of Alaska. He was loved by many. But what many people don't know is that Kilcher has been having a hard time lately getting through the problems. From one public problem to the next, bad things always happen in his life. He is doing everything he can to hide the fact that this hurts Atz from his viewers. Apparently, his bad luck isn't just happening by chance. A lot of people said that Atz's problems were clear warning signs of bigger problems that no one saw, especially the scars he hid from his family and friends. Even though he likes to look calm and in charge, life had other ideas for him. Through the show's different seasons, he becomes more open to being hurt. As one person put it about the reality show, we saw the drama and the danger, but we never saw the warnings. This was exactly how Atz's life was going at the time. The person you like most in the group is about to cry. Will he let down his guard or weather the storms by himself? What do you think? As time went on, his fans started to link Atz's problems to his legal problems. As he worked on the Discovery show Alaska, The Last Frontier, he became famous and was known by everyone. However, with fame came the high cost of privacy. But Atz is still not ready to let other people see how bad things are for him. There are rumors that Atz may be feeling the pain by himself because of how he is seen by the world. It shows the life of the Kilcher family, who live in the most remote part of Alaska's wildness. As they stayed alive and lived their lives away from modern technology and life, they made people watch. Over time, the Kilcher family learns how to hunt, farm, fish, and do everything else they need to do to live on the land. Atz showed his fans that he was able to easily support and care for his family. This picture of him stopped him from helping the most. Being good at taking care of everything, he thought it was weak to ask for help. Atz's lack of fear also caused him a lot of problems. No one knew how much pain he was in. No one saw him cry. He was that tough guy who knew what to do. Also, was someone that everyone looked up to. During a recent study, a lot of people said they didn't think anything bad would happen because of what he did on the show. He would go to the top of the tallest cliffs without fear, build houses in the middle of nowhere, and hunt in the cold. He was strong and made sure no one saw his flaws. But behind the cameras, things were going badly for Atz. There were reports that things were getting worse for Atz. Because of recent events, nothing had prepared him for what he was going through. In this case, his desire to live in the woods could not help him at all. Atz was clearly having a hard time in the last season and a few shows. His fans noticed that he didn't seem like himself. The Atz, who was always calm, was now easily pulled away and preoccupied. Fans have been writing different things about the last season, and they kept checking in on him to see how he was doing. They finally found out what was wrong with Atz not long after the season was over. He was having legal and health problems when he wasn't on TV. He couldn't ask anyone for help because his worries were too much for him to handle. And while this was going on, a terrible disaster happened. As if Lee Kilcher's life wasn't already hard enough, he was in the middle of an accident that almost killed him. as well as hiking in Otter Cove on the day of the accident. During his walk, he happily fell off a cliff that was almost 40 feet high. A lot of people thought he was dead because the fall was so bad. Atz didn't die, even though his fans were scared for him. In reality, he got seriously hurt, and it broke him totally. He broke his arm in the fall because it was so hard. After being rushed to the hospital, a checkup showed that his body was in a lot of pain. He had a hole in his lung, broken legs and hips, and cracked a few ribs. It was very important, and he had to stay in the hospital for a long time. Atz was still getting better months later. But it wasn't easy for him. It was hard for him to get back up on his knees. Now, some say that Atz Kilcher will be able to walk again and be normal again, but it will take him years to get better. Atz went through something after this accident. He pushed down his pain and began to feel down. The accident made him feel bad, but he didn't tell anyone about it. What he didn't know was that his pain affected more than just himself. It also affected his family. Many of his friends were interested in what caused the accident because so much was going on. Kilcher wasn't hiking for the first time, but he hurt himself very badly. Do you want to know what happened? Let's start over. Atz wasn't the only one hiking at Otter Cove on the day of the crash. He was with Mark, his friend. The bad news is that they were having so much fun on the hike that they didn't notice when it got dark. For some reason, Atz lost his balance in the dark and fell off the cliff. He took a big fall, and the harm was done before his friend could get to him. Atz was lucky that his friend had a satellite phone that he could use to call for help. The helicopter with the rescuers got there just in time. When they got there, they took him to the hospital to get better. Atz tried to keep his friends from knowing everything about the accident, but they all knew. Some of his fans said they were afraid that their favorite star would have died if Mark wasn't with him and could call for help. It's strange that Jane Kilcher didn't know what was going on, despite everything that was going on. No, she wasn't. While she was waiting at home for her husband, she found out that he had been in an accident. Jane said that she didn't find out about Atz's crash until late at night. Her life was turned upside down when she got a call. She said the call was dangerous and something she would never have thought of in a million years. She was crushed and broken when she learned that her lover was in pain. Things looked a lot better after the fall. Jane wrote about the accident on Facebook after she got to the hospital and saw what had happened. Different views started coming in after people read her posts. He made sure to tell his friends about everything after he got out of the hospital. He told them about his health and showed them X-rays and pictures of himself from his hospital bed. He shared another picture of himself from a hospital bed a year after his fall. He wrote an incredibly moving comment under the picture that made many of his fans cry. As talked about and wrote about how the accident made him feel humble on social media. He also talked about how hard the past year had been, but that he was still grateful to have his family and friends with him. Atz then thanked his fans at the end of his post. His words say that his accident showed him how much his fans cared by how many texts and well wishes they sent him all the time. He told them he was thankful for everything. In addition, Atz said that his many wounds were slowly getting better. Because of the accident, he had to slow down, which hurt his results. He couldn't build or shoot as well as he used to, and he couldn't film as much. The accident made him feel bad about himself, and he withdrew quickly. Later, they chose to take some time off from the show, which made fans worry. As always made sure he stayed in touch with them through social media. Atz was really missed on the show, but he couldn't bring himself to come back until he felt better about himself. Even though he was by himself, he made sure to keep his friends up to date on his health. Many times, asked those who helped him through the process. Even though his health was already bad, he got in trouble with the law, and it wasn't nice. As chose to sue the Otter Cove resort where he fell after the accident. For the damage that was done, he asked for $100,000 in reimbursement. Now, what do you think? Do you believe he has the right to sue the resort? Let's find out. Atz said that the accident could have been avoided if the property had had the right kind of warning sign. He also said that the resort didn't have any safety measures for guests. In anger, they were called dishonest for what they did. With good name, people became interested in the case, and the resort knew they had to fight back or lose everything. The property fought back and wouldn't take any blame for what happened. In their defense, they said that was careless while climbing. This comment did not sit well with, and a fierce war broke out between the two groups. Atz didn't know that his fight and legal wars had just begun, and it was going to be hard for him. He lost to the resort because they stood their ground and fought to stay where they were. You can now see why has been taken back. He got into another big trouble with the law while he was still upset about his loss. No one knew that Atz had done something wrong. But he didn't know that justice doesn't care about anyone. After his small problem with the resort, he went on a black bear shooting trip in a faraway part of Alaska not long after. That day, Atz was very happy, and everyone could see it. But he made a big mistake because he was so excited. This hunter and his group chose to use a helicopter to get into the wilderness instead of hiking like most hunts do. It looked like nothing at first. But it was a huge problem in Alaska. State rules were very strict about protecting wildlife and letting people hunt for fun. But in the case of Atz, it was definitely against the law to hunt with airplanes. It was against the law in Alaska to use helicopters for hunting, tracking, or even moving hunters, their gear, or even raw game, but it didn't care. He had done something that was against the law. Others saw him that day, and someone who did not want to be named told the Alaska State Troopers about the trip. He was found guilty after the police looked into it. He was charged, and the papers showed that he and some other killers were taken to Bradley Lake by chopper. For a show that was going to air, they were taken there to hunt black bears. But this didn't keep Atz out of trouble with the law. A company called Wilma TV, which filmed the show, also got involved in the whole case. The TV was given a misdemeanor hunting violation charge for having an illegal way to take or try to take game. Atz, on the other hand, was charged with shooting illegally, which is against Alaska's conservation laws. Even after the case died down a bit, everyone still had a lot of questions. For example, many people were interested in how the officials found the breach in the first place. What do you think? Who told them about it? After a long study, the secret was finally found out. Megan Peters, a spokeswoman for the Alaska State Police, said that a former worker at the production company told the police about the illegal hunt. She said that Wilma TV hired a man from Homer, who used to work for her, to be a doctor on the set of the movie. The information they got said that Wilma TV told the medic not to tell the helicopter company hired for shooting that hunting was going to happen. The doctor also chose not to work on the project after hearing about their plans. Because he was leaving, he told Alaska Wildlife Trooper Trent about the planned hunt. Trent watched the show and saw that Atz shot at a black bear. As he watched it, he remembered the medic's account and called the helicopter company right away. The business told him everything he needed to know. Their crews and Atz had been taken to Bradley. They said, though, that they didn't know about the planned shooting trip. He talked to two Wilma TV producers, and they told him that in a previous show, they had used a float plane to hunt. They said that it would not be a problem to use a chopper. After some time, as was talked to. With all of his problems, he was sure to be in the news. As the interview began, he told her a big secret. He had never wanted to go on the hunt, but the producers made him because they wanted him to get a bear. He told the directors that going over by helicopter was against the law, but they didn't listen and told him to go along with it anyway. People told him to keep going and that everything would work out. Kevin Fitzgerald, an attorney for Atz, said in his defense that they didn't do anything wrong because the charge against them was hunting a black bear, which they never actually did. In spite of what the episode showed, he did not try to kill an animal. His lawyer said that there was no attempt to take that particular animal. Kevin backed up his point by talking about how reality TV works. What he said was true not all the time when it was caught on camera. The court records show that was not charged with killing a bear from a helicopter. Instead, he was charged with using an airplane to get to a shooting trip. In court, was very good during the hearings. He didn't say